Good morning, everybody. Welcome to week number 6 in English 110. Excuse me. We're going to take a look at this week's work, and I'm also going to go over a little bit of information about the library. Some folks were struggling a bit with the sources that they've chosen for the Unit 4 assignment. We are writing academic research papers, and so we are supposed to be doing our research from the library and not on the open internet. So if you were finding websites that you were using for Unit 4, we really need to kick it up a notch before turning in the final paper, not this week, but next week for the argument essay. Your sources need to be from the post-university library and not from the internet. So we're going to take a look at how to find those today as well. So let me go ahead and open everything I'm going to need to open. There's a couple of things that we'll use today. All right, so let's go to the course first and talk about Unit 6. So in Unit 6, there's, of course, at the very top, a reminder that it's going to be time to register for classes for next term. So make sure you check that out. And then we get into our normal content. So we're going to be delving more into argument writing. And this week, you do not have a paper to write, but next week is when the argument paper is due. So really dig into the materials this week and be working on your full argument essay. So far, you've written an introduction and you've written a couple of paragraphs back in Unit 4 that have the potential to be used in the body. But upcoming is the full thing, so we can certainly be working on that now. All right, so let's take a look at the readings and resources. You've got some stuff about writing argument, including a structural piece. So this is going to be really helpful if you want to start working on it this week. This is one of those activities where you start and click all the way through. You have also have an activity about transitional words, rhetoric and argument, and then, of course, some videos to check out as well. When we're talking about rhetoric, we're talking about persuasive writing or argumentative writing. Those terms are kind of used interchangeably in academics. So, as usual, read everything carefully, watch all the videos, and make sure that you've done that before you attack the graded assignments for this week. As usual, you do have a discussion board. And this is actually pretty timely, considering that the Super Bowl was literally last night. And the Super Bowl is well known for having new ad campaigns launched and fun commercials. That's what we're doing this week. You are analyzing a commercial. It calls it here, please begin by selecting an advertisement for a popular product. Now, it doesn't have to be a commercial on TV. It doesn't have to be a video. It could be an advertisement that was in a magazine, something that's just a photo, but it has to be an actual advertisement for a product, something like soda, beer, food, a clothing brand, maybe a car, maybe a particular necklace. We're also at the super close to Valentine's Day time, so there's lots of advertisements online for which ring or which necklace to buy. And in your discussion board, you're gonna write one paragraph about the advertisement and what it's doing. So how would you summarize what the advertisement is about? In that summary, you need to address the 3 types of appeals that you're going to be learning more about in the readings. Logos or logic. That's where people use facts and established stuff to prove that you should buy that particular product. Next is emotions or pathos. What emotions are they playing on in that particular advertisement? And then the last one is less about the particular ad or commercial and more about the company. So it's called ethos or trust. What makes you trust that company or not? Sometimes maybe they don't have a great reputation. Very important, you must include a link to the advertisement in the post so that your classmates and I can see it. And again, if you've not read the materials this week, the logos, ethos, and pathos stuff is not going to make a whole lot of sense to you. So make sure you do that first. Then, in responding to others, of course, you can consider the advertisement chosen. If you were writing a critical review of the advertisement, what is one area you think the ad could be better in? Why? You can also explain, of course, how you think the logos, ethos, and pathos apply to their ad. And have you started to notice those as you look at more and more advertisements, how those are used? Okay. So I'm going to switch over to Google here for a second, and I'm going to talk a little bit about finding advertisements. So personally, I would go with a commercial because there's a lot of commercials that are stored on YouTube, but you also might do print advertisements. So let me show you how to find some print advertisements that you might use. So here we have print advertisement examples. We've got some specifically from 2022. There's a lot of different things. Let's look at ones from 2022. So you have the ability to pull up the actual ads in Google Images. You also have a lot of websites that will show you multiple advertisements. So let's click on this one, print ads that broke the mold in 2022. And there's going to be examples. So here's the first example. This was a magazine ad for Bumble, the dating website, and it was a 2-page spread in a magazine, and you can kind of zoom in on it to take a look at it. Here's one from Burger King. Here's one from McDonald's. So there's a whole bunch of ads that you can choose from in this particular article online. If you use an ad from here, you need to include the link to this page and also be clear about which ad you're using, since there's multiples on the same one. Okay, so you would need to do that. If you are looking at the direct videos, let's go ahead and go to the images. Same thing's going to apply. I love hedgehogs, so I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to get all the way to the page that has it. Okay, so I am not going to cite Google Images. I'm going to go all the way into the article that has this particular ad. And again, what it's done is open up an ad, an article that has more than one ad. But let's say I wanted to use this one from Volkswagen. Again, I'm going to include the web address so that my fellow classmates can take a look at my ad, and then I'm going to do my analysis. All right. Now, as I mentioned, I would almost lean towards commercials simply because YouTube exists. So let me, in fact, just open YouTube, and I'm going to search for Super Bowl ads for 2023. And I'm going to have lists. I'm going to have individual ads. You can tell, of course, here's one. This video is 7 minutes and 3 seconds. So that is clearly a bunch of ads, not just one. I'm probably going to find some that are separated out. Let me see. Maybe not this quickly. If you see a video that's 30 to 60 seconds, it's probably a single ad. Let me see if I can find a single ad to analyze. So let's say famous TV commercials. Again, we're going to have a lot of them that are compilations, but this one, the Fritos one, is only 16 seconds, so that is a single ad. Let's see. Most of these are compilations. Here's one from 1984, Apple Macintosh's commercial. So this one's 1 minute long. That's how you can tell you're only seeing one particular ad. Oh, this is one of the most famous of all time, the classic Tootsie Roll commercial. First, we have an ad for Disney.
There's nothing quite as magical.
Mr. Cow,
Yeah.
how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll?
So this was a famous ad when I was growing up, and there's a lot of old ads. There's a lot of new ads available. You can look at a compilation and pick one out of it, or you can find a specific ad. No matter what you do, you're going to click the share button and you're going to include this link in your discussion board post, because you do need to supply your classmates and I with the link so that we can see it. This one has a whole bunch. Once you get into one of these lists, this is another famous one. This is almost as old as I am, but it was the Coca-Cola one with "I'd like to buy the world a Coke," which was a famous one back in the olden days. So there's all kinds of things that you can find using YouTube or Google. You can Google commercials as well, but you would need to be able to see the whole commercial, and you're going to share. Most importantly, make sure you share that link. Okay, so that's your discussion board for this week. And then you have a knowledge check. So we did one of those back in Unit 3. 10 questions. You can take it more than once. So even though you don't have to work on your argument essay, it is due at the end of week 7. This is a good week to work on it so that you can ask any questions that you might have. That also, and it even says this on the heads up, that also gives you a chance to use the Tutor Me system to get some extra help, or Grammarly and Academic Writer. I am also going to point you to college success resources, because there is a whole section on how to use the post library. Again, many people did not use library sources in Unit 4, and that is a requirement for your essay. You should be writing papers with library sources, not mostly with internet sources anyway. All right. So this will tell you kind of how to go through it. Now, I've already opened the virtual library source page. It talks about that right here. Here's a link to the library and a link to the tutorials. So I've already got it open, and you'll notice here it's talking about I might need a barcode, and then it's got you can use generic information. So we may need this. So I'm going to leave this tab open, and I'm going to click on virtual library resources. And I'm going to click on EBSCOhost. That's what they talk about in there. And there's my barcode. So let me copy that. Oops, I need the whole thing. There we go. All right. So when I'm searching in the library databases, I'm searching multiple databases at one time usually. I would just use Academic Search Complete, honestly. You're going to find really good information there. The other one that they reference in the in that stuff was, let me see if I can find that one. There's some that are specifically geared more towards argumentative topics. And they mention one in the video that's helpful. Oh, there it is. Points of reference center. This one is the one that's geared towards argument. So let's click on that one. All right. So when we are searching, I try to keep it as simple as possible, but sometimes you end up filling in additional fields. But let's say that we are writing about, I'm not going to use any of the 3 that you are required to write about, but remember, you're writing either about childhood obesity, pay gap in sports, or what's the other one? My brain just went dead. What's the other one? I know we have it in 4. There it is. Cell phone use in the classroom. Good grief. My brain just completely lost that. We're going to look at something different. We're going to look at another potential argumentative topic. One that they used to use was whether or not people should have to serve on juries. So required jury duty or jury duty pros and cons. Either one of these is probably going to give us some good articles. So let's click search. And oh, it only gave us one. All right, let me just search jury duty so we have more than one to choose from. There we go. Now we have 6,000 to choose from. So here is an argument, right? Jury duty is a responsibility of every American. This is going to be on the pro side. This one is more of an overview, so this might be good for using for getting good definitions and things like that. And here is the counterpoint. So you can see that this particular library database gives us both sides of an issue or all sides of an issue. So let's just use the first one just for demonstration's sake. So when we click on it, we get what's called the library record. In order to read the article, we're going to click over here where it says HTML full text. This is going to show you the original article, the whole thing, so you can go through and take a look at it and read it. But most importantly, for gathering our sources, over on the right-hand side, you'll notice this button called Cite. You need to pick the APA and you need to copy this entire citation, and that is what goes on your reference page. What's going to go in your in-text citations for this article are going to be the author's last names and the year. Now, it's also, the whole article's on page 2, so we could put page 2, but you would have, in your parentheses, you would have Whitaker and Newton, comma, 2016. That's going to be your in-text citation. You don't automatically know that, nor do you have to memorize that. You have over here on the left, you have the APA 7th edition to refer to at all times. The other thing that I want you guys to remember is what a paper looks like. A lot of you are still struggling a little bit with the formatting. So I'm going to post this again. I've posted it before, but I'm going to post this again because it's going to show you this is what's in the header. This is where the first page information is. This is what it's going to look like when you have the whole thing set up. Now, this is a sample from Unit 4, so you only had the 2 paragraphs. Your argument essay is going to be more like 3 pages long. You're going to have an introduction. You're going to have a paragraph each for the reasons that you feel the way that you feel, your opinion on the subject matter, and then you're going to have a conclusion. The activity this week with how to structure it is going to help you with that. But this is still a good basic template to use for the argument paper. So I'm going to attach it again. Remind everybody, nobody automatically knows how to do APA formatting. If you are feeling bad about it, please don't. But you do need to keep working on that. All information that you have used from a source, whether you have put it in a quote or whether you have paraphrased it, has to have an in-text citation, and that in-text citation has to match one of the items on your references page. If you need extra help with it, let me know. Don't forget about the Tutor Me system to get some extra help as well. All right. So everybody, I hope you have a great week. And if you have any questions, please reach out.